بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد Merciful Allah, spare me long enough so that I may complete my mission. In remembrance of his undying love and loyalty for his and our master Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, strengthen your love and loyalty with salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The second in remembrance of his sister al-Masa'ib Zainab, salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And the third in allegiance and honor of our current Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I would like to speak very frankly amongst you all. As a community, we have and we can see a lot of issues. The biggest of those issues is the fact that we are still awaiting for Imam Zaman. What greater issue than this? We say we are waiting for him, yet really, if we look at the situation, it is he that is waiting for us. We need to understand that. I need to understand that he's waiting for me to grow up. He's waiting for me to understand what my duties are as a Shia. The quality and the number of Shias worldwide is reducing year upon year. Now you might say, Amin, that's against the facts and figures. If you go on the internet now, you'll see that the number of Shias has actually increased by X amount over the years. But then we have to argue, is it really just quantity we're looking for, or is it the quality of the Shia? Another problem we face is the quality of life is reducing year by year. Now again, you might say, Amin, what quality of life? Look at the fancy cars, look at the houses we're living in, look at the technology, look at the clothes we're wearing. The quality of life has increased. And I will tell you, quality of life is not just measured by materialistic things. The quality of life is also measured in the calmness that you feel, in that tranquility, in that togetherness and unity in the family unit and in the wider community. That's quality of life. In fact, all the things that I mentioned, the fancy cars and the houses and the this and the that, they only bring more problems. There's no point in striving. Me as a father, there's no point in me striving to earn more money so that my son or my daughter can wear X shoes or Y or drive Y car, when it means I am absent as a father and a husband in the house. At what cost are we gaining this so-called quality of life? Lastly, we see the number of orphans has increased worldwide. Not just Syria, Iran, Iraq, wherever, but even in the UK, even in America, even in developed countries where there's no war, where there's nothing going on, there's no disease, famine, this, that, and the other, but yet you see the number of orphans has increased. In our own community, the number of orphans has increased. And I'll come back to that because I know some of you may be thinking, what is he even talking about? Now, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, Al-amilu ala ghayri basiratin kas-sa'iri ala ghayri tariq la taziduhu sur'atu sayri illa bu'da. He says that the one who acts without insight is like he who is traveling on a wrong path. The faster he travels on that wrong path, it only takes him further away from his destination. Hopefully over the next couple of days, we will be addressing the topic of parenting, because this is the root of all these problems that I've mentioned. And it's not just experienced fathers and mothers who need to hear this. It's also people who are, for example, living with another person who may have had children from a previous marriage. But you living with that lady in that house where you are now the guardian or the father figure of those children, it's also for you. Or the other way around, whether a lady is living with a husband who had previous children from previous marriage. It's also people who are looking to get married. Because by knowing the duties that the lady should have and a man should have, you can then pick your spouse with a better understanding and knowledge. That's what we want, right? So when we look at what does a parent mean, well, you tell me, does it mean just we have babies and leave them in the world to go and figure it out themselves? We have a lot of that in the West. Or does a father actually mean a leader? Does a mother mean a leader for that child? And what does a leader mean? The best leader, if you look at all the businesses who are thriving and doing well, they'll tell you that our managers or our leaders are the ones who lead by example. So it's no good for me as a father to read all these ahadith and regurgitate them to my son or my daughter and say, oh, look, son. Look, for example, they say, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا off. Don't say off to me. Or, for example, as a mother, I say, oh, al-jannatu tahta aqdam ummahat. That Jannah is, or heaven is under the feet of the mother. Which mother? Any mother? A mother that doesn't complete her duties to her child? A mother that, for example, is maybe an addict in some way or some sort. And I'm not just talking about drugs. I'm talking about social media addict. Where she's so into her phone that she forgets that her child is even there watching everything she's doing and learning from that. That then instead of coming and asking for a hug from the mother, they ask for the phone. Where are we going? What's our aim? What's our goal? It may even be the case that instead of the saying being al-jannatu, it may be al-jahannamu tahta aqdam ummahat. Maybe this mother has actually brought hell under her feet. And same for the fathers, no difference. In fact, you'll come to know that the mother's duties rely a lot on the father. So me as a parent shouldn't be concerned on teaching my children the ahadith or the ayahs of the Quran that relate to me and my status. I should be concerned about learning and reading the ahadith that teach me my duty as a father. And I should be teaching my children that me as a father, my duty towards you or your right upon me is this. So that they learn from a young age that I am a responsible person and I know what my duty is and I follow that. So that when I then tell them or when they come across the ayah وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا off, then they say, oh, this is in regards to me. The same way my dad or my mum read the ahadith in relation to them, I should take consideration on this hadith or these ahadith. This is what it means to be a father or a mother. Now, and there's many ahadith. If you look at the books Al-Kafi, or if you look at the books, for example, in Man La Yahduru al-Faqih, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, So in Al-Kafi, volume 6, page 47, he says, take action in teaching traditions to your children before the corrupted people take action in teaching them. So I have a duty as a father, and not just as a father. You'll come to see that a father doesn't mean someone who has a son. A father means somebody who is in the position to be able to carry out the duties to the child who is in need of those duties or those needs. Sometimes it may be somebody who, for example, is an orphan, you take them in. You have a duty to that child. You're not the father, you're not the biological father, but you are the social father. If you look at, for example, Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, the son of Abu Bakr, may Allah curse him, Imam Ali adopted him and took him under his wing. And he grew so good and so well and so pious that he knew what the truth was and he defended the truth. Even when his sister Aisha, may Allah curse her, stood up against Imam Ali in the Battle of Jamal. He didn't say, oh, that's my sister, let me go and defend her. He said, doesn't matter who she is. She's on the wrong path. Imam Ali goes on to say that this boy, Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, is the apple of my eye. Now, we base our parenting upon certain ideologies, upon beliefs that we have. And we may all come from the same religion, but we may have slightly different beliefs. Like I may believe, for example, yes, I have to take my child to the mosque. Whereas somebody else may say, no, I want my child to be independent. I want him to choose the proper path. Let him decide if he wants to go to the mosque or not. We're in the same community. We have the same God, but our ideologies are different. And these ideologies, ever so slightly, can change the outcome of that child's path. The same way that every little button or dial on that the mixer changes the sound coming through this microphone, our ideology changes the paths that we are going on. You'll find that on the Day of Judgment, we all say that we were going towards one path, but we were all traveling very, very different paths. I'm very conscious of the time, so I'm going to try to cut it a bit short. So where do we get these ideologies and beliefs from? Is it okay to just go to the internet or read any old book or listen to, our friends at work? Oh yeah, sleep train your child. And then you say, okay, well, what's sleep training? Different people call it different things. They define it as different methods. Some people even say, you know what? I leave my child to cry in bed until he or she learns that they should go back to sleep. The kid is less than, 5-6 months old, and you're saying, leave it, let it cry. Let it cry, it will cry itself to sleep. Why? Because I want to teach it independence. You are breaking the attachment that that child has to you. The child only comes to you and runs to you for a few things, which I've mentioned in previous years. And that's one is knowledge. When it needs something, it comes to you and says, Dad, Mum, why is the sky blue? And you say, well, because of the frequency of the wavelengths that are coming through, it looks blue. But why? And they'll keep bugging you. They come to you for knowledge. The second thing is for nutrition and food. But nowadays we have all these fast food chains and we have ready-made meals and we have all these kinds of things that the child doesn't even need to come to the mum and dad anymore. So as you look at it, the bond is being broken from young age. They don't need us anymore. They're self-sufficient. And we look at it saying, my son, my daughter is self-sufficient, when we don't realize we are damaging them. Because they then grow up learning this same method and they do even worse to their children. No wonder the community is falling apart. No wonder the world is falling apart. No wonder. Now I mentioned orphans, and I said you may say, what's Amin talking about orphans in the community? No, I haven't heard of anyone dying recently. No, you see, you have someone who is physically dead, and you have someone who is spiritually and emotionally dead. You may see people, their fathers and mothers are there, but only in physical appearance, not emotionally available or spiritually available. We even have some people, I know because I have students whose fathers work abroad in Iraq for many months at a time. That child is an orphan. Don't say he has a dad in Iraq. What good is that? What good is him having a role model such as a father in Iraq that he can't even see him, or Iran, or wherever else? Parents need to be present in the lives of their children so that they can carry out their duties, so that they do not become the ones who are cursed. Now, what do I mean by that? It says here that let me say this one first. In Al-Kahfi, it says that you are the partner in your child's actions, the father, the mother. You are the partner in your child's actions, and you will be answerable on the day of judgment to your child and to God. Notice the wording here. It doesn't say to God and the child. It says to the child and then to God. We have duties here. And hopefully, I don't know whether we want to learn these duties or whether we even knew we had duties. I don't know what the situation is. I myself only recently started looking at this stuff because of my own situation. But as a teacher, I also looked into these things so that I can teach my students who are going to be the men of the future Islam, the future society, that they should know what their duty is. Now, having a child in Islam is mustahab. No one says you have to have a child. It's mustahab. But doing your duty as a mother or a father towards your child is not mustahab. It's wajib. In other words, don't go around thinking, okay, I'll have a child and then, whatever happens, happens. No. You have to be prepared that you know your duty, you know what your job is before you have a child, because from that very moment the child is conceived, even before that, you are responsible for their upbringing. Now, I want to end the speech here because we're running out of time. I promised only 10 to 12 minutes. It's been slightly longer than that, so I don't want to trample on people's rights here. Inshallah, we'll cover more over the coming days. There's a lot to learn about parenting. And it's extremely scary when you open that books of ahadith and you read them and you realize what my duty is as a father, as a mother, and what is the result if I don't carry out my duty. And we can see the result anyway. We can see that. Instead, we are focused on having a better car and a bigger house and nicer clothes. For what, I don't know. Because you're not going to be asked about these things. And your son and daughter doesn't care whether you buy them the latest iPhone or not. And if they do care, it's because we made them care. Because I sat there, instead of looking at him, I was doing this, and he realized, oh, this is something important. Otherwise, if I do my duty as a father, as a mother, they don't care what they're eating, what they're wearing, where they're sleeping. They don't care. They want you. They want you. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, before he left for Karbala, he wrote a will and gave it to Muhammad ibn Hanafiya. And in that will, he says that I'm not, rising to create corruption or to create this or to try and grab some kind of wealth or kingdom or so on and so forth. I'm only rising in order to rectify the shortcomings, the problems in the ummat of my grandfather Rasulullah. And in that journey, he sacrificed everything. Everything he had in order to rectify the ummat. What am I doing today? I come and I sit here and I cry, maybe even crocodile tears, and I wear black and I beat my chest a bit once a year. If I really love Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and if I respect what he stood for, then I should accept his ideology and his teachings in my life. And I should pass them on to my children because that is my duty. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ahli bayt at-tayyibin at-tahirin.